People who say school should have taught us this are probably the type who wouldn't have learned the material even if school had taught it. People often complain that school never taught them to do taxes or some other such thing, and that gets me thinking. I know a lot of people who were taught things in school but didn't bother to learn the material. They memorized and dumped for tests, copied homework, used Spark Notes instead of reading. It gets me thinking. If they had taught you to do taxes in school, would you have learned the material or just bullshitted your way through the homework like you did in every other subject so that you could party on the weekends or go to sports practice and smoke weed after? When does learning also become part of your responsibility too? I mostly agree. Another common complaint I see is people complain that they didn't learn how the government works in high school. I have seen multiple people complain about this that were in the same class as I were. We most definitely did learn about how the US, government works. It's honestly so pathetic to see mid-20s people still complaining about what their high school did or didn't prepare them for. For taxes, for example, if your only financial interaction with the world is working a W-2 job, there's literally one form to fill out and it takes 30 minutes or less. Why are you still complaining? The one I see most often is taxes. But you are taught the skills to do taxes in school. In maths, you cover percentages, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. If you can't transfer that to the word taxes, you have bigger problems. Teacher here. In general, this feels like the truth, but I think there is a bigger problem. In school there is always the issue of breadth vs. depth. Cover an issue in depth, and you'll remember it, or at least the broad strokes, in 10 years, but to truly cover something in depth, you have to cut out multiple other issues/topics, and then people will go, why didn't you cover that? You should have taught us this in school. On the other hand, try to cover everything a bit, so students will get a broad education, and they'll forget it was even brought up. Personally, I lean a bit on the side of depth over breadth, but focus on applicable skills and critical thinking over content. So, if you are teaching about the U.S. Civil War, don't just bring up the fights or the lives of slaves, bring up the research methods on how we study the Civil War as experts. Teach them about the controversy of the cause of the Civil War, and how a real historian would use primary source documentation to show that slavery was the ultimate cause of it, and that a lot of people used states' rights to later whitewash it and feel better. Then link primary source documentation to something today that is controversial, like maybe a political party's platform in Trump vs. Biden. That you can literally just go to the party platform and read it, rather than just speculate what they believe. Or for the Civil War, show how the North was favored to win because of their strong manufacturing base and economy, and then show how historians take tons of time accumulating details about their economy using primary sources. And make sure to emphasize that it takes work, hard detailed work, and that you shouldn't just lazily approach these issues. Thus, students have learned about the Civil War, but more importantly research methods, and the fact that you really have to put in some effort. I was a pretty lazy student, but even so, I still learned a lot of the material. There's a huge difference in wanting something to be offered and not taking what is offered. Also, people who say why learn useless stuff about mitochondria and y equals mx plus b are incredibly annoying. Not learning basic science and mathematics is how you get anti-vaxxers, homeopathy nuts, climate change deniers, and the like. Upvoted as definitely an unpopular opinion, and I would have to disagree with it. I do believe that a lot of stuff we have to deal with in everyday adult life could do with being taught in school, i.e. home economics. Most likely they did learn it at some point but totally forgot. Gonna be honest and say, when I watched the Don't Stay in School video, all the stuff he was saying he was never taught was taught to us in my school. Just like all the people who complain about how they never used anything they learned in school and act like school is useless. It's like LOL. Learning it is one thing. Using it is up to you. The whole idea that we should dumb down education because a bunch of people have no ambition astounds me. I don't agree. I'm in the UK, so it's a different situation here, but I think the education system needs a shake-up. I have a first class, the highest level, university degree in business management, so obviously I don't fall into the category of can't be arsed to learn or retain the knowledge. I have never been taught about the basics of employee rights and entitlements. We actually get rewarded for working in the UK lol, interest rates, ISAs, pensions, tax, mortgages. I understand that these things can be looked up, or taught at a later stage, but so can the things that I was actually taught, like calculating the area of a triangle, calculating the length of the side of a triangle, both of which I've never done in real life. And there is no need for non-calculator exams or learning nowadays, because it's so unlikely we'll need to do anything without a calculator. Surely if they are going to teach everyone something, it's better to teach the things that are likely to be used by the majority of people in that group. Almost everyone in my class has got, or had, a mortgage. But I don't know any of them who have become architects or need to calculate the area of a circle lol. At my high school they literally had a class project in math, grade 11, which was called the Career Life Project. You'd pick a job, figure out how much you would make, buy a house and car, and basically figure out what your future life would look like. Taxes and all that shit were also taught for the purpose of this project. When I was in grade 11 I was so excited for this project because I just thought it was cool and was excited to learn all that stuff. Turns out they stopped doing it that year, and completely changed the curriculum so it wouldn't include taxes and credit and everything I actually wanted to learn. So yeah, fuck high school. Totally agree. It's a cop-out most of the time. Plus, school can only teach you so much. If you want more content in the classroom, a lot more students will fail. Sick of this narrative. And it goes beyond taxes. Any historical event that gets new attention, any basic skill that is best taught by family or just plain experience, and any new discovery that refutes an older conclusion, all get put on how school deprived them. It's a huge deflection of personal responsibility.